Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Basically, this past week has been all about stock classes and markets. So there's a lot of business stuff to talk about, but not a whole lot of farm life things. So this will be very, very short. Mainly, it'll be a weather report pretty much. I haven't had a lot of time here on the farm, and when I have been home, I've either been exhausted and sleeping or doing things in terms of business. It's a much, much cooler week, very autumnal. Uh, the weekend, Saturday, was quite hot, but then after that, it's really cooled down, and we have had misty, damp mornings. We have had rain. We had really heavy rain yesterday morning. So we've got some more water in the tanks. We've got some moisture in the ground. Haven't had to water those trees since the weekend, our new trees. And yes, so far the fence is holding and the sheep have kept out. So it looks as though we have finally work that situation out. That first lot we put in, we're probably a little bit lazy in terms of not giving them enough space around and not having anything solid so they could push against it. Whereas this new big rectangle space is going to be perfect for helping those trees to grow. Still not a lot of grass in the sheep's paddock though, so they are still getting hay every morning, which I probably will do a little bit of even when there is grass, just because they like to come up and say hello. They literally run from the other end of the paddock where they're grazing to come up and say hi. So even if it's just so that we can spend a little bit of time together. Well, as I said, it has been a super busy week here for Passion Flower. It started last Thursday night, I guess. It was the monthly unwind wine and cheese night, so I went there. But before that, I packed my car with pretty much everything I was going to need for the whole weekend. So there was lots of Tetrising of boxes in. I managed to fit everything in except for my mannequin and a basket of lace weight yarn, which I wasn't planning to use up in Dalesford anyway. It was just going to be for the Sunday market. So everything else fitted in the car, and I'd labelled what I was going to not use at tea time market and what was just for the Yarra Valley Wool and Handicraft show. And yeah, I managed to fit it all in. I just had to then pack those last few things, like take out my pillow and doona and my overnight bag and replace it with the mannequin and the basket on the Saturday evening after I got back. So that was a success. So it's really good to know that my little car does fit quite a lot, and I still had lots of viewing space out the back. So after I packed the car, I drove to wine and cheese night, and then after that finished at about 9 o'clock, I continued on and drove to Creswick to save me having to drive home and then drive sort of basically past Unwind again to go up to Dalesford the following day. So I stayed the night in Creswick and had a nice relaxing morning. And then I taught a stock class on Friday afternoon, which went really well. And then there was a tea time market on the Saturday morning, and then another stock class on the Saturday afternoon before driving home. I know, I was really tired. Pretty much just ate, put those extra things in the car, and went to bed because it was an early start again on the Sunday. Um, so yeah, the two sock classes went really well. It was a good group of people. They all managed to finish one of their little mini socks in the class, and because they had that whole weekend, they were able to all support each other. And any questions they had, could kind of share. And because I was there for the 2 days, they could ask any additional questions as well. So it turned out to be a really good weekend, and we have lots of new sock knitters. Then Sunday was a really big day. I got up super early and drove to Mooroolbark, got my setup all done. Was really happy with how my table looked. I debuted my iPad with all of the finished projects on it from past customers. So that was really great. I'm going to encourage you, if you have made something with my yarn, please send me a photo and I can add it to my gallery. It looks really great on the table. And it's also a really good way of being able to show samples of lots of colorways that I don't necessarily have made up and sitting there. So just to be able to scroll through and show someone an example of something knit up has been really good. I used it quite a few times to show someone how something might look if they were to knit it up. So that was really great. And I also had my sample cards on all of the samples that I actually had physically there as well, with the QR codes to the patterns. And that was really well received. A lot of people were scanning the codes and were excited to be able to start a new project with some new yarn and kind of know what it was going to look like and what they were going to do. So I'll be doing that with all of the samples that I have on my table moving forward. And as I said, I'm going to add to the iPad as well with finished projects, so that I can continue to share what you guys are making. So thank you to everyone who stopped by my stall. I had a really good day. It was so fun to see everyone and to squish yarn and to talk about projects. And yeah, it was good to meet new people and to see folks that I'd seen before as well. So yeah, another really good day out. I also caught up with a lot of the dyers that I have met before at markets, which is always really nice to share and to have quick chats about their own setups and what they've been doing and their new yarn colors. It's also exciting to see what everyone's been working on. I also met some new people, which was really great. Directly across from me was a new to me vendor called Crafted in Timber. They make knitting notions and items out of wood. So I will show you in the craft section or creative section what I bought from them. But it was nice to, as I said, meet new people, but also catch up with old friends. So after that really busy long weekend, because it was like Thursday through to Sunday, on Sunday night I literally just drove home, ate some food and fell into bed, and I unpacked the car the next day. Not too bad. I packed down pretty well. I had my tubs sort of all ready to go, and I just put the baskets that I had up on display into the tubs with the yarn around it. I had to do a little bit of tidying up and a little bit of resorting, because for some reason nothing ever fits perfectly when you do the pack down, but it wasn't as disorganized as it has been before, so that was good. What I have done is gone through and taken out some of the single skeins and some of the, like where there's like 2 or 3 left, and I will be dyeing new batches of those to go to She's Crafty. And I'll be using that stock to put into a new shop that Bali from Tea Time Yarn Retreats is opening up in Daylesford. So she's going to have a small shop and workshop space where I will be teaching some classes, and I will also have a small stall as part of that. So I am putting together some sock sets, so full skeins and mini skeins already balled up and ready to go. And I will be having some DK and some sock yarn in there as well. It's really interesting after being at a market. My mind goes like 100 miles an hour trying to think of different ways that I could present my stall, changing how many colorways I have or how they're presented. That's how I came up with the idea for the QR codes for the samples and for having the iPad, just from having been at other markets and selling and trying to make things easier for people, and new ideas and ways to just present yarn. So I've got a table set up in the shed right now, and I've got my 3 cube display sitting on it, and I've been doing some measuring and some thinking, wondering if perhaps I should get a second one of those while they're still available in the shop. And I've also been thinking of ways to maybe divide some of those cubes so that it is easier to get yarn in and out. So that's going around in my head at the moment. Also researching maybe getting a grid mesh wall that I can hang yarn on as well. And it could either sit in behind the table, so you would just reach across the table and grab things off, and then there'd be space on the table to sit samples or to have a basket. Or if I have a larger stall space, that I could have that standing beside the table and kind of change around the whole configuration of where I put things. So the mind is working, and I'm looking at different options and doing some research. So you'll see that as it progresses. But as I said, I was really happy with how my double table situation worked out for Mooroolbark Market. I was able to fit a lot on. And I do like that. I like to have a lot on display, but I think now I need to pare it back a little bit and create some space so that people can really get in and see the colors and squish the yarn. And of course, I'm straight back into dyeing more yarn again. So because it's getting cooler, I am making sure that I have some more DK yarn dyed up and ready for She's Crafty. I have done batches of, I'm just looking at it over here that's drying. I've got some rust, some forest, and some denim. I have also done a new colorway in the same sort of style as those, which I might give you a little sneak peek of. I'm not sure that I'm 100% happy with it, but we'll wait until it's dried and reskeined. So I've got that one drying. I've also got three new colorways that I'm experimenting with. So they may end up being at She's Crafty. Again, I want to see how they look when they're dried and reskeined. But it was fun to be a little bit creative and to do some new colorways rather than just doing batches of the colors that I know and that people love. I mean, I love them too, but sometimes it's nice to just experiment. So after these batches of DK, I'll have a little bit of a think. I might do a little bit more, but I think I should then have enough of everything else to fill the stand that I have at She's Crafty. And then I've got to do some more restocking of some of my sock yarn, especially some of the My Country colorways. They seem to go quite well at these last markets, so I need to restock those. Oh, I've also added another market to my schedule for this year. I will now be at the Colac all yarn and fibre market on the 10th of June, and then I will be in Lancefield on the 11th of June. So that'll be another really busy weekend, but I'm looking forward to those markets. So She's Crafty is my next market, which is April 15. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there, and you can continue to see my yarn preparation and table preparation and everything else I'm working on here on the channel between now and then. So I did buy two things on the weekend, which was quite restrained for me. I do try not to buy at these markets because I think otherwise you could go really crazy and end up spending almost as much as you make. So I do really kind of try and end up buying from like a store buddy or someone that I've been talking to for a while, and I've really had an eye on some of their products. So from the Tea Time Yarn Retreat Market, I bought this little Notions pouch from Crystal Cat Stitchery, and it is a beautiful little quilted pouch with all these gorgeous fabrics, and they were sitting on the table and I kept looking at them and I just had to get one. This was the second time that I've been eyeing these off, so yeah, I went ahead and got one. And then, as I said, I met the team behind Crafted in Timber and I bought myself a sock blocker from them. There's their details there. So I got the small, and I decided to go with the one that had the knit stitches on it. So I've actually not ever had an official sock blocker before. I just have been using wire, like an old coat hanger that I turn into a sock blocker. But so this is my first official sock blocker, and it had to be a cute one, so that's good. In terms of craft, you've heard how busy I've been doing all of these other things. There has not been a lot of craft. I did do a little bit at the Tea Time Yarn retreat when I wasn't doing the teaching part. So it's not going to be a lot to really show. I did some more on the sleeves. You can see they are getting there. I've done 2 decreases now. I kind of want to put this onto separate cables and try it on to see where this is coming down to on my arm, and then I can kind of work out how many more rounds I'll need to do to get to that sort of just before the elbow kind of just after the elbow, I think it is, to do the really long section of ribbing. So yeah, I'd like to try that on before I go too much further. I did finish my stripy socks with the Unwind Cruise colorway from Half Baked Hand Dyed. There they are, the two completed with all of their stripes all matchy. Really happy with these. I still need to weave in the ends, but I just finished those just the other day. So I have, of course, started a new pair of socks. Um, Something a bit new and bright. I'm using opal yarn that I got as a gift from a friend when they went to Germany. It's like the confetti party or something. And it is really bright and colourful. I decided that I would put in a contrasting toe, heel, and cuff for this one. And I'm using found some scraps. It's a dark purple and it's got sparkle in it. So I think that's fun to go with the confetti name and with the bright colours. And so far I've just done the two colours there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of that comes out in terms of the striping pattern. And that is literally all the crafting that I've done. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.